Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. A son stands in front of his father, eyes locked, head held high. He says, I am strong, but is he? Is he really strong? Or has he fallen victim to the illusion of strength that this generation has embraced? Today, I'm here to tell you a brutal truth. My son is weak. And it's not just him, it's an entire generation. A generation that has traded grit for gadgets, discipline for distractions, and power for pleasure. They think they're strong because they can bench press 100 kilos, but they crumble the moment life throws a real challenge their way. They call themselves warriors, but they haven't fought a single battle worth mentioning. Why? Because the world has become too soft, too easy, too comfortable. And comfort, my friends, is the silent killer of strength. You want to know why you're not reaching your potential. It's because you're too comfortable. You're too afraid to step into the arena, to bleed, to sweat, to fail. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is something that most people won't admit to themselves, but deep down they know it's true. The reality is today's generation confuses comfort with strength. And that is one of the most dangerous things I see right now. We've been sold this idea that strength is simply about looking good, having a six-pack, or being able to show off on social media. But real strength, the kind that changes lives and defines true warriors, is not what you see on the surface. It's about what happens when no one's watching. It's about what you do when things get tough, when everyone else quits, when the world expects you to fall. Look around you. What do you see? People taking shortcuts, avoiding the pain, trying to find an easier way. There's always a quicker fix, a faster solution, a way to sidestep hard work. But that's the problem. They don't understand that the path to true strength is forged in the fire. It's built on sacrifice, on discomfort, on suffering. True power doesn't come from the gym or from a diet plan. It comes from waking up when you don't want to, from pushing your body when it screams for rest, from saying no to easy pleasures and yes to the grind. What's happening now is that we've created a culture where everyone's afraid of real struggle. Instead of facing challenges head on, people look for an escape route. They think they can get everything with no effort. They think they can just buy success or borrow strength from someone else's achievements. But the truth is you can't fake it. You can't buy true power. It's not about posting a picture of yourself lifting weights. It's not about getting likes for saying all the right things. It's about what you do when you're alone, when there's no one to impress. That's where the real fight happens. I see it all the time, and it hurts to watch. You've got people talking about how strong they are, how they're going to conquer the world. But the moment they face any real adversity, they crumble. They don't have the mental toughness to see it through. They don't have the will to keep pushing when the road gets rough. And why? Because they've never built that foundation. They've never learned what it means to really fight for something. We live in a world of distractions. Social media, constant entertainment, instant gratification. We're surrounded by noise, by things that pull us away from the real work. You can scroll through your feed and see people showing off their abs, their fancy cars, their vacations. You think that's what strength looks like? That's not strength. That's a filter. It's a mask. Real strength doesn't need to be flaunted. It speaks for itself in the quiet moments when you're putting in the work while others are sleeping. The problem is this generation is looking for the quick fix, the shortcut, the easy path. They want success without the grind. They want to be champions without the sweat, without the tears, without the pain. But here's the hard truth. Success doesn't come from taking the easy route. It comes from doing the things that no one else is willing to do. It comes from showing up when you don't feel like it, from giving more than you thought you had in you. It comes from grinding, from failing, from learning, and from never stopping. People today don't understand what real strength is. Strength is not about physical appearance. It's about having the courage to face challenges head on, no matter how hard they seem. It's about pushing your limits every single day, even when it feels like you can't go on. It's about getting knocked down and getting back up over and over again. Strength is about having the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. We've got a generation that is used to comfort. They don't want to face discomfort. They don't want to struggle, and they don't want to fight. They want things handed to them. They want it all to be easy, but that's not the reality. And here's the truth you need to hear: life isn't going to give you anything for free. You're going to have to fight for everything you want. If you think that you're strong just because you got a few muscles or you can show off in front of the mirror, you're dead wrong. The real battle isn't in the gym or on the streets. It's in your mind. It's in how you show up every day. It's in the decisions you make when no one is looking. That's where strength is built. That's where true power comes from. You don't get strong by taking the easy road. You get strong by embracing the struggle. You get strong by facing the toughest challenges head on and refusing to back down. You get strong by pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. You get strong by doing the work, by staying disciplined, by never settling for anything less than your best. So stop pretending. Stop lying to yourself. You're not strong if you're only strong when it's convenient. You're not strong if you're only strong when things are easy. You're not strong if you haven't earned it, if you haven't faced the real tests. Strength comes from the pain, from the struggle, from the fight. And if you're not ready to go through that, if you're not willing to put in the work, then you haven't earned the right to call yourself strong. You want to talk about strength? Let me tell you something even more important: discipline. Without discipline, you have nothing. Discipline is the foundation of everything. Without it, you will never reach your potential, no matter how much talent you have. And this generation, they have no discipline. They think they can succeed without it. They think they can get by with just dreams and hopes. But dreams alone don't build empires. Discipline does. Look at the world today. Everyone wants to be the best, but no one wants to put in the hours. Everyone wants the glory without the grind. It's like they think success will come easy, that they can wake up one day and magically be great. But let me tell you something: greatness doesn't just happen. It's not a gift. You don't wake up one day and have it. You earn it day by day with every sacrifice, every hour spent training, every moment you stay focused when everyone else is distracted. This generation has lost the meaning of hard work. They want to hit the jackpot without doing the work. They want the reward, but they don't want to pay the price. They see the success, but they don't see the years of struggle, the hours spent in silence, the discipline that was required to achieve that success. They think it's enough to just show up. But it's not. Showing up is the minimum. The real work starts after you've shown up. Look at the people who have achieved greatness, the legends, the champions. They don't do it for the applause. They don't do it for the likes. They do it because they're disciplined. They wake up when everyone else is sleeping. They put in the work when no one is watching. They push their limits because they understand that discipline is the price of success. Without discipline, you have nothing. The problem with the new generation is that they don't understand this. They want results. We want results without the effort. They want the reward, but they don't want to sacrifice. They want to take shortcuts, avoid the hard days, and skip the struggle. But that's the easy way out, and the easy way out never leads to greatness. You can't cheat your way to success. You can't fake discipline. It's built over time. It's built through consistent effort, through pushing yourself every day, through making choices that others won't make. And it's not just about doing the work. It's about doing the right work. It's about focusing on what truly matters. It's about not wasting time on distractions, not falling into the trap of instant gratification, but investing in your future through deliberate, disciplined action. It's about knowing what's important and committing yourself to it, even when it's hard. Because I'll tell you something, it's going to get hard. It always does. And that's when most people quit. They quit because they don't have the discipline to push through. They quit when they face the first obstacle. They quit when they get tired. But discipline is what keeps you going when everyone else has given up. Discipline is what pushes you forward when your body is screaming for rest, when your mind is telling you to stop, when everything inside you says it's too hard. That's the moment that counts. That's when true champions are made. But this generation is soft. They don't have the backbone to push through the pain. They think a few setbacks are enough to stop them. They don't know what it means to sacrifice their time, their comfort, their energy for a goal. They want everything now, and then that's not how it works. It's a slow burn. It's a process. It's not about doing things once in a while. It's about doing the hard things every day, whether you feel like it or not, whether anyone is watching or not. That's where true strength is built. And make no mistake, discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about being flawless. It's about consistency. It's about making the right choices every single day, even when it's tough, even when it's inconvenient. It's about building habits that lead to success, even when you don't see the results right away. Because when you're disciplined, when you stay committed, the results will come, but they won't come overnight. It takes time and it takes grit. It takes the willingness to keep going, even when you feel like you can't. But this generation, they're not willing to put in that work. They're not willing to make the sacrifices. They're too comfortable, too used to getting things instantly. They've forgotten what it takes to truly be great. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to struggle. They want everything handed to them. But here's reality. Life doesn't hand you success. You have to go out and take it. And to take it, you need discipline. So let me tell you this. If you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to put in the hours, if you're not willing to make the hard choices, then you will never be great. You will never reach your potential, because discipline is what separates the champions from the amateurs. It's what separates those who make it from those who don't. Without discipline, all the talent in the world is useless. Without discipline, you have nothing. And it's not just about physical discipline. It's mental discipline too. It's about controlling your mind, controlling your emotions, controlling your impulses. It's about being able to focus on your goals, no matter what distractions come your way. It's about understanding that success doesn't come from talent alone. It comes from the will to work, the strength to push through, and the discipline to do whatever it takes to reach the top. And here's the real problem. They expect to get something for nothing. They think the world owes them success just because they want it. They believe they're entitled to greatness without earning it. But let me ask you something. What have you done to deserve it? What have you sacrificed? What have you fought for? Because if you haven't bled for it, if you haven't suffered for it, if you haven't given everything you have, then you haven't earned anything. But that's not what this generation wants to hear. They want to be told they're special. They want to be told they deserve it just for showing up. They want to be praised for doing the bare minimum. But life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't reward you just for existing. It rewards you for what you do, for what you give, for what you fight for. But instead of fighting, they're waiting for opportunities to fall into their laps, waiting for someone to hand them their dreams on a silver platter, waiting for success to come knocking. You know what waiting does? It makes you weak. It makes you lazy. It makes you forget how to fight. And that's exactly what's happening right now. They're waiting for something that's never going to come. They sit around complaining about what they don't have, about what they think they deserve, while the real fighters are out there taking action, seizing every opportunity, earning their place. You want to know why they feel entitled? Because they've been spoon-fed lies. They've been told that they're good enough just the way they are. They've been told that they don't need to work hard, that they don't need to struggle, that they can be anything they want without paying the price. But that's not reality. That's a fantasy. You can't be anything you want unless you're willing to bleed for it. You can't achieve anything unless you're willing to sacrifice for it. But this generation doesn't want to hear that. They want comfort. They want praise. They want rewards without the work. They look at those who have achieved greatness and they say, I want that. But they don't see the blood, the sweat, the tears, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices. They just see the end result. They see the glory without the grind, and they think they deserve it too. But let me tell you something. You don't deserve anything you haven't earned. If you haven't fought for it, if you haven't sacrificed for it, then you have no right to it. And that's what separates the greats from the rest. The greats don't expect to be given anything. They don't wait for someone to hand them success. They go out and take it. They work harder than everyone else. They push themselves further. They sacrifice more. They understand that nothing in this world is free. Everything has a price, and the price of greatness is high. But this generation doesn't want to pay that price. They want to skip the struggle and go straight to the reward. They want to take the easy way out. But there is no easy way. There's only the hard way, the painful way, the way that tests you, breaks you, molds you into the person you need to be, the way that requires you to sacrifice your comfort, your time, your energy, your excuses, the way that forces you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I doing enough? Have I earned it? Have I earned it? But they don't ask themselves that. Instead, they look for shortcuts. They look for hacks. They look for the easy path, the fast track, the way that requires the least amount of effort. They don't want to do the work. They want the reward without the grind. They want the success without the sacrifice. And then they wonder why they're not where they want to be. They wonder why they're not winning, why they're not succeeding, why they're not reaching their goals. It's because they haven't earned it. They haven't put in the work. They haven't sacrificed enough. They haven't suffered enough. They think they can get by on talent alone, on dreams alone, on talk alone. But talk is cheap, talent is wasted without discipline. Dreams are meaningless without action. So, what do? They sit back and complain. They point fingers. They make excuses. They blame everyone else but themselves. They say the system is rigged, that the odds are against them, that they didn't get the right opportunities. But the truth is, they're not willing to do what it takes. They're not willing to go the extra mile. They're not willing to grind when everyone else is sleeping, to sacrifice when everyone else is comfortable, to keep going when everyone else has given up. They expect success to come easy. They expect to be handed greatness without having to bleed for it. They expect to be respected without having earned it. But respect isn't given, it's taken. Success isn't handed out, it's fought for. And if you're not willing to fight, if you're not willing to suffer, if you're not willing to sacrifice, then you don't deserve it. And that's the problem. They think they're entitled to greatness, but they haven't done anything to deserve it. They think they're warriors, but they haven't fought a single battle. They think they're strong, but they haven't faced the fire. Because if you want to be great, you have to be willing to do what the average person won't do. You have to be willing to go where the weak won't go. You have to be willing to bleed, to sweat, to suffer, to sacrifice. You have to be willing to work in silence, to grind in the dark, to keep going when everyone else has stopped. That's how you earn greatness. That's how you become a warrior. But most of them, they don't want that. They don't want the pain, the struggle, the sacrifice. They just want the prize. They just want the end result. They just want the glory. But you don't get the glory without the grind. You don't get the respect without the work. You don't get the reward without the suffering. And if you're not willing to suffer, if you're not willing to sacrifice, then you haven't earned it. And if you haven't earned it, then you don't deserve it. And that's the biggest lie they're telling themselves, that they're strong. They walk around with their heads high, acting like they're untouchable, like they've got it all figured out. But deep down, they're empty, they're fragile, they're building their confidence on things that don't matter, things that can be taken away in an instant. They're putting on a show, but behind the curtain, there's nothing real, nothing solid, nothing earned. They think confidence is about shouting the loudest, about being seen, about getting attention. They think confidence is about how many followers they have, how many likes they get, how many people tell them they're great. But that's not confidence. That's insecurity in disguise. That's a desperate need for validation, for approval, for someone else to tell them they're enough. Real confidence doesn't come from the outside. It doesn't come from other people. It comes from within, from knowing who you are, from putting in the work, from earning your place. But this generation, they're chasing empty praise. They're addicted to attention. They live for the applause, for the recognition, for the image. They spend hours creating their lives online, pretending to be something they're not, showing off a version of themselves that doesn't even exist. They post pictures in the gym, flexing in front of the mirror, trying to look tough. But looking tough and being tough are two very different things. Because when the real challenges come, when life punches them in the mouth, when the lights are off and no one is watching, they fold. They break. They fall apart. They call themselves warriors, but they haven't been to war. They call themselves champions, but they haven't fought a single battle. They think they're strong because they can post a picture with a motivational quote, because they can talk a big game, because they can look the part. But strength isn't about what you post. It's about what you do. It's about how you handle yourself when the pressure is on, when the odds are against you, when everything is falling apart. You see, true confidence doesn't need to be broadcasted. True confidence doesn't need an audience. It's quiet. It's calm. It's unshakable. It comes from knowing you've done the work, from knowing you've put in the hours, from knowing you're prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't crumble when things get tough, that doesn't disappear when people stop clapping. It's the kind of confidence that's built from within, brick by brick, with every drop of sweat, every moment of sacrifice, every ounce of pain. But what do? They fake it. They act like they're untouchable, like nothing can break them. They walk around with their chests puffed out, their heads high, pretending they're kings. But all it takes is one setback, one moment of real adversity, and you see the truth. They're not kings. They're not warriors. They're scared little boys hiding behind a mask. They're empty. They're soft. They're weak. They put all their worth into things that don't matter: likes, comments, followers, fake praise from people who don't even know them. They let other people define them, let other people tell them they're strong, let other people build them up. But when you rely on other people to make you feel strong, they can take that strength away just as easily. When you build your confidence on sand, don't be surprised when it collapses the moment a real storm hits. But that's the difference between those who talk and those who do. Those who do don't need to talk. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. They let their actions speak for them. They don't need to post about it. Don't need to brag about it. Don't need to show off, because they know what they're made of. They know they're prepared. They know they've earned it. And that's a kind of confidence you can't fake. But this generation, they're more concerned with looking strong than actually being strong. They'd rather play the part than live the life. They'd rather pretend than do the work. And that's why they crumble. That's why they break. That's why when things get tough, they can't handle it. Because they haven't built real strength. They've built a facade. They've built a house of cards. And the first wind that blows, it all comes crashing down. And the worst part, they don't see it. They don't see that they're setting themselves up for failure, that they're building their confidence on things that don't matter, that they're lying to themselves every time they post a picture, every time they pretend to be something they're not. They don't see that they're wasting their time chasing empty praise, wasting their energy trying to impress people who don't care. And when the world stops clapping, when the spotlight goes off, when no one is paying attention, that's when the truth comes out. That's when they're left alone with themselves, with the person they really are. And that's when they realize that all the likes, all the comments, all the praise, it means nothing. It was never real. It was never theirs. Because real confidence doesn't need an audience. Real confidence doesn't need applause. Real confidence doesn't need validation. It's built in the dark, in the silence, in the moments when no one is watching. It's built when you're pushing yourself harder than you ever have before, when you're fighting through the pain, when you're refusing to quit, when you're doing the work that no one else wants to do. That's how you build true confidence. That's how you become unshakable. That's how you become a warrior. But they don't want that. They don't want to go through the fire. They don't want to suffer, to struggle, to sacrifice. They just want to look the part. But looking the part and being the part are two very different things. And if you're not willing to pay the price, then you're nothing more than an empty shell, a pretender, a fake. Because at the end of the day, real strength isn't about what you show the world. It's about what you show yourself. It's about how you handle yourself when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is telling you you're great. That's where real warriors are made. That's where true confidence is born. And until they learn that, they'll keep pretending. They'll keep faking it. They'll keep lying to themselves. And they'll keep falling apart every time life gets real. But they don't see it, do they? They don't see that comfort is killing them. They don't see that every time they choose the easy way, every time they stay in their safe little bubble, they're getting weaker. They think they're protecting themselves. They think they're being smart. But what they're really doing is robbing themselves of the very thing that builds strength, struggle. This generation has gotten too comfortable, too soft, too spoiled. Everything is at their fingertips. Food, entertainment, distractions, all of it, one click away. They don't even have to get up to get what they want. Everything is delivered. Everything is instant. Everything is easy. And they think that's a good thing. They think that's progress. But what it's really doing is making them weaker. It's stripping away their grit, their hunger, their edge. You know what comfort does? It dulls you. It makes you lazy. It makes you soft. It makes you weak. And they don't even realize it. They think they're strong because they can bench press a little more than the next guy. They think they're tough because they can talk big in front of a crowd. But take away their comfort, take away their phone, their air conditioning, their safe little world, and then what? How strong are they really? How tough are they when life actually gets hard? Because life will get hard. Life will hit you, and it won't care how many followers you have or how many motivational quotes you posted this morning. It will hit you when you least expect it, and it will hit you hard. And if you're not ready, if you've been hiding behind comfort, if you've been running away from discomfort, it will break you. But that's the problem. They don't want to feel the pain. They don't want to face the struggle. They want everything to be easy. They want everything to come without sacrifice. But that's not how warriors are made. Warriors aren't born in comfort. Warriors are forged in fire. They're built through the pain, through the suffering, through the days when everything inside them says to quit. But they keep going anyway. But what do? They run to their comforts. They run to their distractions. They run to anything that numbs the pain, anything that keeps them from feeling the burn, the struggle, the hardship. And they think they're doing themselves a favor. They think they're protecting themselves. But what they're really doing is destroying themselves. You want to know why they're not reaching their potential? Why they're not strong? Why they're not winning? Because they're too damn comfortable. They're too afraid to be uncomfortable. They're too afraid to push themselves, to test them, to step outside their little bubble and face the real world. They'd rather sit back and watch life pass them by than go out there and fight for what they want. And that's the difference. The real fighters, the real warriors, they don't run from discomfort. They run towards it. They seek it out. They embrace it. They understand that every time they feel pain, every time they struggle, every time they're pushed to their breaking point, that's when they're getting stronger. That's when they're growing. That's when they're becoming the kind of person who can handle anything life throws at them. But these kids, they want the easy way. They want the smooth path. They want success without sacrifice, strength without suffering, victory without the fight. And they don't realize that every time they choose the easy way, they're getting weaker. Every time they avoid discomfort, they're robbing themselves of the very thing that would make them strong. Look around. Look at the ones who are really winning, the ones who are dominating, the ones who are unstoppable. They're not the ones sitting in their comfort zones. They're not the ones hiding from the struggle. They're the ones who embrace it. The ones who wake up early, who train when they're tired, who work when they're sore, who push themselves when everyone else is taking it easy. That's how you get strong. That's how you get tough. You don't get it from sitting on the couch, scrolling through your phone, living in your little comfort zone. You get it from the pain, from the struggle, from the days when you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway. But they don't want that. They want the easy life. They want everything handed to them. They want to avoid the pain, avoid the suffering, avoid the grind. But you can't avoid it forever. Life will find you. Life will test you. Life will push you to your limits. And when that day comes, will you be ready? Or will you crumble like a piece of glass because you spent your whole life hiding from discomfort? Because that's what comfort does. It makes you soft. It makes you weak. It lulls you to sleep. It convinces you that you're okay just the way you are, that you don't need to push harder, that you don't need to suffer. But that's a lie. That's the biggest lie of all. You think you're doing yourself a favor by staying comfortable. You're not. You're cheating yourself. You're robbing yourself of the chance to be great. You're robbing yourself of the chance to become a warrior, a champion, a fighter. You're choosing comfort over growth. And that's the worst decision you can make. Because when the lights go out, when the cameras are off, when there's no one around to pat you on the back, that's when the truth comes out. That's when you find out who you really are. And if you've been hiding behind comfort, if you've been avoiding the struggle, if you've been taking the easy way out, then you're going to find out real quick that you're not as strong as you think you are. So what are you going to do? Keep hiding? Keep running? Keep choosing comfort over greatness? Or are you going to step up? Are you going to embrace the struggle, embrace the pain, embrace the discomfort? Are you going to do the hard things, the things that scare you, the things that hurt? Because that's the only way to get strong. That's the only way to become a warrior. That's the only way to earn your place at the top. And until they learn that, until they stop hiding behind comfort, they'll keep waking up every day as shadows of who they could be. And that's the real tragedy. Not that they're weak, but that they're choosing to stay that way. And that's the real tragedy. Not that they're weak, but that they're choosing to stay that way, because weakness isn't permanent. It's a choice. It's a decision. It's a habit. And every day they wake up and do the same thing. Every day they take the easy way out. Every day they avoid the struggle. They're choosing to stay weak. They're choosing to waste their potential. And what for? For comfort. For the illusion of an easy life. For a few more hours of sleep. A few more moments of distraction. A few more days of feeling safe. They're trading their future for nothing. Trading greatness for mediocrity. Trading potential for excuses. And that's what they don't get. Every choice they make is a trade. Every decision has a cost. And every time they choose comfort over growth, they're paying with their future. But they don't see it like that. They see it as, I'll do it tomorrow. They see it as, I'll start next week. They see it as, I've got time. But time doesn't wait. Time doesn't care. Time is running out, slipping through their fingers like sand. And they're wasting it day after day, week after week, year after year, waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the easy path. But there is no perfect moment. There is no easy path. There's just now, right now. And every moment they waste is a moment they will never get back. But they don't understand that. They don't understand that every second they waste is gone forever. They don't understand that every day they don't push themselves. Every day they don't do the work. Every day they don't fight for their future. They're falling behind. Falling behind the ones who are out there grinding. The ones who are out there sacrificing. The ones who are out there doing what they're too comfortable to do. You see, that's the thing about time. It's the valuable thing they have. More valuable than money, more valuable than talent, more valuable than any opportunity. Because once it's gone, it's gone. They can't buy it back. They can't earn it back. They can't get it back. And every day they waste, every moment they spend sitting around doing nothing, scrolling, complaining, waiting. That's time they could have spent getting better, getting stronger, getting closer to their goals. But instead, they're wasting it. They're wasting their most valuable asset. They're wasting the only thing that actually matters. And they don't even see it. They don't even feel it because it's not obvious. It doesn't slap them in the face. It doesn't scream at them to wake up. It just slips away quietly day by day until one day they wake up and realize they're out of time. They're out of chances. They're out of excuses. And by then, it's too late. You think it can't happen to you? You think you have all the time in the world. Look around. Look at the people who were once the best, the ones who had the talent, the potential, the opportunity, but they wasted it. They took it for granted. They thought they had time. And now they're washed up, forgotten, left behind because they didn't respect time. They didn't value it. They didn't understand that every moment counts. But here's the thing. Time doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care how talented you are, how much potential you have, how many dreams you carry. It will keep moving with or without you. And if you're not using it, if you're not maximizing it, if you're not grinding every single day to get better, then you're losing, you're falling behind, you're wasting your life. And that's the biggest mistake they're making, thinking they have time, thinking they can wait, thinking they can waste today and make up for it tomorrow. But tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is a lie they keep telling themselves to justify their laziness, to justify their comfort, to justify their excuses. And that's what they don't get. Life doesn't wait. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't pause for them to catch up. It keeps moving. And every second they waste, someone else is out there grinding. Someone else is out there taking action. Someone else is out there getting better, getting stronger, getting closer to their dreams. So while they're sitting around waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the easy path, waiting for someone to hand them their dreams, someone else is out there earning it. Someone else is out there fighting for it. Someone else is out there taking what they're too lazy, too comfortable, too afraid to go after. And then they wonder why they're not winning. They wonder why they're not where they want to be. They wonder why life isn't going their way. It's because they're not doing the work. It's because they're not respecting time. It's because they're not taking action. You want to know what separates the greats from the average? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's what they do with their time. It's how they use every single second of every single day. It's how they refuse to waste a moment. It's how they treat time like the most valuable thing in the world, because it is. But these kids, they don't get that. They waste their time like they have 1,000,000 years left. They waste their days like they're guaranteed a second chance. They waste their potential like they can just pick it up whenever they feel like it. But life doesn't work like that. Time doesn't work like that. Every second they waste is a second they will never get back. Every minute they spend doing nothing is a minute they could have spent getting better. Every hour they spend scrolling, complaining, waiting is an hour they could have spent becoming the person they say they want to be. But they don't see it. They don't feel it. They don't realize that they're running out of time, that the clock is ticking, that every second they waste is a second closer to the end. And when the end comes, when the lights go out, when the final whistle blows, they're going to look back and wonder what happened. They're going to wonder why they're not where they wanted to be. They're going to wonder why they wasted so much time, why they didn't take action, why they didn't push harder, why they didn't fight for their dreams. And by then, it will be too late. The time will be gone. The opportunity will be lost. The dream will be dead. And they will be left with nothing but regret. Regret for the time they wasted, for the chances they missed, for the person they could have been but chose not to become. So what are they going to do? Keep wasting time? Keep waiting for the perfect moment? Keep telling themselves they have tomorrow? Or are they going to wake up right now and start fighting for every second, every minute, every hour they still have left? Because time doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. And neither do champions. The choice is theirs. The clock is ticking. And it's time to decide. Are they going to keep wasting their life? Or are they going to step up, take action, and make every second count?